What's up, guys? McKay here with another Clean Tech Daily Technology News Review, and today we have an article that hits home quite a bit. And in this article, you're going to get a good snapshot of exactly what it's like on the other side, and you'll get exactly what I mean here in just a second. So this article talks about how Google gives up the fight on trying to beat iMessage, and they now want to try to join forces with iMessage. And for those of you who don't know, the vast majority of Americans, especially teenagers or in my age group, have iPhones. And iPhones, if you text another iPhone, you get blue messages. However, if you have a Google phone or anything that's not an iPhone and you text an iPhone, it pops up right here, as you can see in this picture, as green messages. And it is one of the biggest segregating things that I have ever seen. And not to compare with anything like historical, but this is an absolute huge segregation. Like, you're not invited to certain things, or you're not put into group chats. Like, that is a very real thing that goes on inside a lot of high schools and a lot of people's lives, that they won't interact. Like, iPhone users will not interact with those who don't have iPhones just because they don't like the green messages. And it's actually pretty sad. However, I grew up most of my life having an Android or a Google phone, actually all of my life. And I was able to get over it by, if they weren't really my friend, if they actually cared about what kind of my bubbles I had on my texting. Screw that. I just got to that point. At one point during high school, I did go buy a cheap little iPhone that I just had on Wi-Fi so I could text my friends in a group chat. That was I felt like I was stooping pretty low when I did that. So, right, I'm at the point now in my life where if you don't want green bubbles, then you're not my friend. I don't care. So, but that's not what most 13 to 18-year-olds think. It should be, but it's not how most of them think. So recently it came out that Android has been, it's not recent, but over the past decade or so, Google and Android have been coming out trying to come out with different texting platforms like Hangouts and different things like that to be able to compete with Apple's blue messages, because Apple created an ecosystem that you can only have FaceTime. Obviously, if you're Apple, there's certain features you can have, but mainly it's the color of the text, and it has nothing to do with the fact that the person you're texting does or doesn't have an iPhone. That's the only difference having the blue or green bubbles make. And Google's senior vice president has actually taken to Twitter about this, talking about Apple's iMessage lock-in is a documented strategy. Using peer pressure and bullying as a way to sell products is disingenuous for a company that has humanity and equity as a core part of its marketing. The standard exists today to fix this. And this article cites instances of bullying for people that don't have iPhones, that have Androids, that don't have the blue bubbles, which is really sad. So we talked about they have been trying really hard. Apple, Android and Google have been trying hard to create their own messaging, but as you can see here, there's an instance where numerous high school and college students were interviewed for the article, which describes situations where iMessage kept Android users out on the outside of social circles. In one instance, a girl's sister mocked her for exchanging text with potential parameters using Android phones, calling the green bubbles gross. And there's numerous reports of this. Any high school you can go to, and you'll see them. Which, if you think about it from Apple's perspective, is absolutely genius. They've created almost a club, which is difficult for those who don't own iPhones or who can't afford them. I mean, iPhones aren't the cheapest phones. So Google has tried really hard to update its own messaging app and things like that. But they've also shifted to try to compete with this. And instead of competing with it, they've actually tried to join forces. And you can see Apple's senior vice president right here. He says, "We're happy to work with Apple to make RCS." Oh, whoops, we went to Twitter. I guess we're going to see the real thread. We're going to see the real thread. You can see here that he actually has been pretty frustrated with it. He says, there's been lots of great discussions over the weekend. Thank you for that one. So this was only 22 hours ago. So you guys are getting raw things. If you guys enjoy my perspective on technology and news in the tech world, consider subscribing. And he says, we're not asking Apple to make iMessage available on Android. We're asking Apple to support the industry standard for modern messaging in iMessage, just as they support older SMS, MMS standards. Why is this important? Phone number-based messaging is the fallback that we all know will work. If you want to reach someone and you don't know whether to use the app X, Y, or Z, and you have high confidence sending them a text will work, that's because it's a standard and supported by essentially all mobile devices. That's probably why Apple supported SMS to begin with. And I think that's true as well, because Well, when I was in high school, I would rather Snapchat somebody than text them with an iPhone because I didn't want to have to explain my green bubbles. And now when I text a girl for one of the first times, I'm like, I apologize in advance for the green bubbles, but you're going to have to get used to it. So maybe that's why I don't have a girlfriend. Maybe I should look into that. SMS has evolved and it's better. With read receipts, you can use typing indicators, better groups, secure one-on-one messaging, groups coming soon. That's the new standard. RCS is now available. And he just goes on to cite that they're happy to work with Apple to make RCS interop a reality. So he's the senior vice president at Google. So this guy definitely, it'd be really cool for him to work with Apple and to create my green messages and turn them into blue messages, because at this point I don't really care, but I feel for all the other Android users that are going through high school. So that was just my thoughts on that I thought was extremely interesting. There is one other cool phone that I do want to talk about, and that's something called Clean Phone. Now, Clean Phone, unfortunately, is green messages, but like I said, there's not much else you can do about that. But a lot of parents don't want to give their kids an iPhone. They don't want to spend the money. They don't want to put them on a data plan. They don't want to have to worry about what they're doing on the internet. Clean Phone is a solution to that problem. Clean Phone gives parents and families the opportunity to manage apps, so you can tell which apps you do and don't want on the phone. So, for example, if you don't want TikTok but you want Snapchat, or if you don't want Instagram but you do want Snapchat, things like that. You can also monitor text and calling logs. You can also schedule app usages, so exactly how long you can play, how long you can watch TikTok, and you also get screen time reports, which are really nice. So this is Clean Phone. We do send you the phone. We do get you the phone for free. You pay for shipping, but then it's a phone that it works really well, and our customers that have it are extremely happy. So if you're interested in Clean Phone, consider checking out our website. And like always, I'll talk to you guys next time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider subscribing. Talk to you guys next time. Happy tech reviews.